Genesis 50:20 says, what the enemy meant for evil, God intended it for good, to save many, many lives. And that's speaking of when Joseph's brother, remember going back, Joseph was in prison. He was sold by his brothers prior to that. He was falsely accused of, horrible, heinous things against Potiphar's wife. And it was just like one thing after the other for this poor soul. But God intended that because God knew. Jeremiah 29:11, it speaks of, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you. And so even though it would seem that Joseph was being harmed every step of the way, the enemy thought he was crafty and was using, unclean spirits and people, and to hurt the jealousy and all this kind of stuff from his own family even, which is like one of the most hardest pills to swallow. But Joseph in the end came out stronger. He came out more fierce, more knowledgeable. He had wisdom. And in the end, he could have sought revenge, but God was strengthening him the whole time. And Joseph sought him the whole time. He never blamed God. He was just like kept his eye on the Lord. And in the end, God used him to save many, many lives alongside the king. And he was second in command, and he was able to spin the block and help his family and show them what grace and mercy, God's grace and mercy looks like. And so God is, like, I'm not gonna lie, today was like a rough day for me. Maybe a lot of you out there are going through things where you're feeling lonely, you're feeling sad, you're feeling depressed, whatever's going on in your life. And you're like, God, like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. But God is saying, just remember, I'm using you to save many lives, to save many souls for the kingdom of God. And with elevation, when the doors are opening, there's a lot of warfare with that. But you are one of his strongest soldiers. So just remember that. And I pray peace and love over you in Jesus' name.